Call the meeting to order. Roll call, Mr. Karati.
Mr. Comando.
Present.
Mrs. Morale.
Present.
Mr. Buffi. Present. Mr. Quinn.
Present.
Ms. Sanchez. Mrs. Canipico.
Present.
Mr. Singh.
Present.
Mrs. Ottarelli.
Present.
Mr. Gear.
Present. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all members of the Board of Education and to the American Record in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, 1975. I need a motion to appoint Dr. Bert Ammerman as interim superintendent effective November 9th, 2015 through June 30th, 2016 at a prorated annual salary of $157,500, which comes out to $605 per diem in accordance with the accountability regulations and as approved by the executive county superintendent. And a motion.
Motion. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Comando.
Yes.
Mrs. Morale.
Yes.
Mr. Buffi. Yes. Mr. Quinn.
Yes.
Mrs. Canipico.
Yes.
Mr. Singh.
Yes.
Mrs. Ottarelli.
Yes.
Mr. Gear.
Yes.
Welcome. I was just going down to get pizza last week, and someone said, "Do you want to apply for this interim superintendent job?" and I was applying for the delivery job down there. They told me I had to come back for another interview. I'm really excited to help and assist the board in this transition between superintendent left and hopefully the new superintendent that's coming in. I got 46 years of experience. I've had to do it this long because I have 4 daughters. And between them and my wife, they want to spend. So no matter what I say to them, I told them last year when I was planning to stop, the gravy train is any. And as one of my daughters said, "Dad, you always find a way." And I said, "That's the problem. You guys just don't listen to me." So the third one's decided she wants to get married. So that's 3 down now with 1 to go. My wife put a roof on a home down the shore. We have to do the driveway, so I said, "Geez, that Saddlebrook job looks pretty good." So they're all happy as long as I pay for the 2 homes. They could care less. Let me tell you a little bit about my experience. I spent 36 years at Northern Valley School District, recognized as one of the best in the state of New Jersey. I was 16 years as the principal at Northern Valley Demarest. Our school was recognized with a blue ribbon and one of the best in New Jersey. Fortunately, I was selected as the first, so I am a dinosaur, the first principal of the year for the state of New Jersey back in 1994, and received other numerous recognitions based on our staff. When I finished in 2005, I had no plans of being an interim. I had been beat up for 36 years in the sector, and I said, "That's it, I'm done, I can now go away." And my previous superintendent, who was the best I ever worked for, called me and says, "There's an interim job opened up in New Milford." They said, I called, you can have it. And I remember saying to him, "Doc, why? We got killed for 36 years. "Oh, no, they treat you much better when you're an interim. They like you, they appreciate that you're there." I said, "Are you sure?" And I'll never forget it. I started there August 15th as interim principal. And that was a Monday, and on Friday, August 19th, they asked me to be also the superintendent because they said I was doing such a great job. I said, "I know I'm good, but I'm not that good." So I understood. But I've really enjoyed it. I've been at New Milford, Parsippany, Rochelle Park, been at Norwood, Northvale. I had a 3-month gig at Rumson, where Bruce Springsteen's grandson was there. And so I tried to organize all kinds of activities for the grandparents to see if he would come in. It's a different life down there. They had 2 fundraisers, and the PTO was great. They asked me to come. I said, "If I come to one of your PTO, it's 4 months of my interim." They have a silent auction at a country club, and they raise $250,000. And then they have another one. They do the walk through all the houses down there and the vendors. So in 2 fundraisers, they raised like $700,000. So I enjoyed that immensely in seeing what was going on. Wherever I have gone, I see good people trying to help kids. And the one thing that I hope I can bring to this board, like I have to others, is my forte is organization. making sure that everything is in place and support. So my goal is to assist the board in getting the next superintendent. My goal is to support the teachers. The teachers have an excellent reputation here. I spent half a day with Rich last week. He's going to be with me tomorrow. Today I met with different people. I'm going to go around to each of the schools tomorrow. And I think that the format that I've always had as a superintendent, and I will do this here, is we're going to be civil. We're going to talk, and if we disagree, we can agree to disagree, because I believe everybody is trying to do their best. I will be very honest, which is the beauty of an interim. I'll be honest with the board, I'll be honest with the teachers, and I'll be honest with the parents. And then if people want to take my advice, great, and if they don't, that's okay too. So I have to tell you, the 10 years that I've done this, it's been wonderful. I was also a Board of Education member for 22 and a half years. So I appreciate the challenges that boards have now, which shows you I really have no life. So basically it has been an education, but I am really looking forward to hopefully be an asset for everyone. I'm supposed to give a superintendent's report. I've been here 5 hours. The place, everything's gone well. I did go last week, which again shows I have no life. Saddlebrook's boys soccer was playing Park Ridge over at Park Ridge in the state tournament, so I went over and watched the 3/4 of that, which is really good for me because I'm a football guy. But it was really, I thought the kids really played well, and I was impressed with what was taking place there. And as I said, I'm meeting different people here just to get a better feel of what's going on. So obviously, at the December board meeting, I'll have more to report on it today. On the agenda items that you have down for tonight, really going to be a quick meeting. Under student services, basically, the Bergen County Special Services is going to provide hours that we need as a district to pay for one of our students. There's home instruction down on number 2, A2. It's dealing, again, for a student that's not in school for 2 and 3. The curriculum B, curriculum instruction technology program, that was interesting. I know that you've had to make some adjustments there, so you've had your curriculum put in place, but now this is the updated curriculum to get caught up to where you really want to be. So that's already been done, so now you're really, Saddlebrook-wise, is where you want to be with that. B2 is dealing with donations to help the elementary Italian foreign language program. Say it again, please. Sure. What I
either that or find money to expand the program to the other one.
I would make a suggestion. And the suggestion I would make is that should be really a discussion as we prepare next year's budget. So that you've got your program in place this year, and that should be brought up at the beginning of the curriculum committee and have a discussion on that and see if that's the direction you're going. I'm guessing, again, our 5th hour, but I am guessing that what I was told was this is what's taught in the elementary. I don't think Spanish taught that one. So what that meets is the state program for immersion. In other words, K5 is you have to have some type of immersion program that has to be in place. So by what you have here, you meet that criteria for the state for world language. So you could take Italian out. That's not the issue. But then you'd have to implement something in Spanish, either putting a Spanish teacher down, going to different elementary schools, another foreign language, where the classroom teachers have to do it, because that's part and parcel of what's needed at that level. But the first step is to put it in, make that recommendation, see what the board, curriculum committee feels, we have discussions there, bring it to the board. So for this year, though, I think you should leave it in because you've already started. No, this is from year for year. This is not a long-term situation. so that next year, let's say I'll take your route that you are successful in what you want, and make it a club or something like that, then the donation would just change and say that. We would work with Unico, the other group, to say, this is what we want to do with it. Are you willing to still do that? Or, as a board, you've got to make a determination and take it on yourself. Fair enough?
And regarding that topic, I'd like to just say I'd like to thank the Saddlebrook and Unicom. And if we could expand it to all grade levels, I think that'd be the way to go. But I think it's excellent to expose the students to a foreign language, whichever language that is. In this case, it's Italian. I just think it's great for us to omit this. I'd like to expand it throughout all the grade levels. If we could afford to do that.
C, that's it, I'm done now because I answered well. Now, C is a business and board. These are all the trips that have to be put in each monthly for professional development. So you have your list there as stated. Field trip request, number 2. You got down the different school, the teacher, the grade level, and where they're going. 3 is the joint transportation with Anglican School District to share to transport those students. Number 4, the board president and I have already signed tonight. It has to be in by the 15th, so it has to be done by the end of this week. The CUSAC report that we're meeting all of the parameters. The policy, which is the wonderful thing to look at, is already, I think this was the second reading. So you've already done your first reading regarding all this, and now tonight this will make it worthwhile.
Through the chair.
Yes.
And I believe Dr. Katz might have briefed you on my email. I am asking to take off 5756, the transgender student policy, for a second revision. I don't know where the confusion was between our initial policy meeting and the first reading last month. It is in the note. It is in the notes that we voted yes on, or I voted yes on. However, after receiving this and looking it over, I don't know if I misunderstood. So I'm asking if we can take this off, revise it during the November 17th policy, and then bring it back for another first reading for December. Thank you.
We'll remove 5756. What we'll do when we go to just vote on Wednesday, when we get down there, we just simply say you're voting on policies, all of them except for 5756 has been deleted. Fair enough?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Which one now? Oh, I got it, yes. Oh, yeah, it's Pontonian. Yeah, I know the president. That's easy. Well, you don't need to put that in the policy. But what you want to do, which you have every right to do. Usually, I know most of them will come to answer any questions that you might have. And so all we would do is just schedule Pontonian to come to a board meeting. And if you guys want that, we can do that. I wouldn't say next month, or January, February, then they'll be happy. Matter of fact, they'll welcome it because that puts out a lot of silly rules. Fair enough? Okay. Committee reports.
Building and Grounds Committee?
We should be having a meeting on Wednesday, so I'll have some for you then.
Yes, two committee members are available. Tuesday worked. Wednesday was good. This Wednesday at I think we meet at 6, quarter to 6 o'clock. Is that good? The agenda won't be that long. There's 2 items that I just want to briefly tell the whole board. I won't discuss with the committee in detail, but it might be added to Wednesday's agenda. 2 proposals for some improvements at the school, schools to be donated. One's at Smith School with a proposal for an awning in the front of the school. Another one is for some improvements over at Washington School where by Welcome Road where the gazebo is. Area to do some improvements there from Unico. So I just want to review this with the committee on Wednesday night, but it could be added to the agenda. This way these groups can get moving on the projects. We don't see any problems with them right now. Just want to get the committee approval, board approval that night if we can. So Wednesday, 6 o'clock should be fine before the board.
6 o'clock Wednesday.
Question for two buildings around points. In reference to the portable food market, is there any way we can have this playground on market? Or we do that playground at the back so they're away from traffic and come up with a car that goes out?
We could talk about that buildings and grounds, and then also during the budget process, because that'll be some dollars involved. So we can talk about that.
Curriculum?
Gonna have to reschedule our meeting,
Okay.
so, not next month, the beginning of the year.
Okay. Curriculum. Update on negotiations, Mr. Flynn?
Negotiations with maintenance and custodians are going extremely well. We made a lot of great progress in today's meeting, and hopefully we'll have everything done within the month to bring to the next board meeting for board approval. And we are currently scheduling our next meeting with the teachers.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Flynn. Policy, Ms. Gifford.
Our next policy meeting is scheduled for November 17th at 5:45, and minutes will follow in our December meeting.
Thank you. Correspondence. Old business. New business.
I do, just through the chair, would like to just say I participated in the 5K yesterday that was held for Karen Kenny, who is one of our school nurses at Franklin School battling pancreatic cancer. And, you know, I just want to really give kudos to the community, the staff that put it together. She raised her personal donation was the highest there, as well as her team. She beat out the second place team by about $12,000. Her team raised well over $24,000 and had over, I think, 107 walkers. So it was a huge, huge success. And, you know, when things are good, you want people to know it's good. And the staff and the people of this community really, really came together for a good cause. And just want to wish Karen, you know, good wishes and good health.
Thank you. Through the chair, congratulations to the new board members, current board members, for a successful election.
Congratulations. Any other new business? Motion to open meeting to public.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Residents are requested to state their names, addresses, and subject matter. In the event it appears the public comment portion of the meeting may exceed 45 minutes, providing the presiding officer may limit each statement made by a participant to 5 minutes duration. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board or discovered will not be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility or liable for any comments made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of the legal rights of those affected or identified in their comments and be aware that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments.
I was not last month today, but we watched it on TV and on the computer. I just have a couple of questions. Dr. Katz, first of all, I want to congratulate Mr. Clinton. And congratulate the staff.
Thank you.
Dr. Katz had said there's a lot of things going on in our schools that are being handled internally that we all don't know about. There's a comment made at the last meeting. Now, is there any way and not giving students names. If I go over to the police station and say, I want to see your incident report book, they have to show you how many times they were called out. They don't necessarily show you names and addresses, but you can actually see copies of what is going on. And they've actually even been posting on their Facebook page, this violation was issued for this. Is there anything that we're allowed to see? Not, and like I said, not using names, but saying there were this child, there was 4 children for foul language. There was 4 children who were disciplined for this. Now, is there any way to see a report like that? Because he kind of piqued my interest. Like, if you go back and watch the video, it made it sound like, wow, what's going on? You know, there's things that we don't know about, and I would like to know personally. Is that something that's available? Is it something completely out of the question?
We'll comment at the end.
Is that okay?
Okay.
Also, I'm sure you probably can't comment, but I know also it was brought up that the board is not in charge of discipline, and I understand that. It's the principals in the school or the vice principal that discipline the children. Well, I can tell you that the middle school and high school are pretty tough. They give out, I don't want to say punishment, but they pretty much, there's a lot of little things that go on that children are being given detention for. Is there like a standard? Like, is it all the principals sit down and they're told for this you do this, for this you do that? I mean, I don't know if that student involved in Franklin School missed any school, or if I'm even allowed to know. Can that be commented on? Did that child miss any school at all?
We'll comment at the end
But I
again.
have to, all right, well.
We're writing them down, so we're
I
gonna.
know, but if you're not answering my question, then I'm gonna have to go on. If I know the answer, I won't continue, but if you're not gonna answer, then I'm going to give you a, for instance, if this child did not miss any time from school, there was an incident that happened with my son, where he received a 3-hour Friday detention for using foul language that happened outside of school, approximately 3:25, 3:30, on Concord Street outside the library. There was a child harassing the librarians, and I did speak with Ms. Coffey about this. A child was harassing librarians and got thrown out of the library. And my child and another child were there, and I'm going to use the word he used. I don't consider it foul language because it is used in health class. And I apologize if this is going to offend anybody. My son said to the child, "Why are you beating your vagina?" Which, is it right? No. Should he have said it? No. It happened after school, not on school property. But he received a 3-hour Friday detention for that, which we could have fought, but my husband and I argued, because my husband wanted to come here guns a-blazing, so to speak. He wanted to come here and really start screaming at people, because he said, that's my child, I discipline my child after 3 o'clock. But we sent him to his 3-hour detention anyway. Because you know what? Originally I thought it happened here, but then the more I thought about it, that's like you calling somebody an elbow or a knee. That's the terminology he was taught, and like I said, I'm not condoning it and saying he should have. He was doing what he was defending the librarians, but he went about it in the wrong way. But all I'm saying is that if this child did not lose any time from school for that incident, and my child said something off of school grounds and got a 3-hour detention for it, I don't think punishments are good enough there. And maybe there should be something looked into. I know you guys don't decide it, but you guys set policies. And it does say in the policy about vulgar language. Split hairs right now. He could have said other words, which I won't use, and we all know that. Like I said, I just kind of feel that if one kid, and there's other kids in the middle school, high school, and I'm not saying that they should not be punished. Please don't get me wrong. My kids get punished at home. My kids know that their actions have consequences. I know a lot of these kids seems to be a large amount of kids that don't. But I just kind of feel I don't care what grade you're in. Is a kid in grammar school who used a similar term getting a 3-hour private detention? I think not. Does it happen? I know it happens. I know I've heard the kids use the language. Some kids in the grammar school in the upper grades. I've heard them use the language. So I'm sure they're using it in school. I'm not trying to get my son out of anything. I'm just trying to bring up a point. I feel there should be some sort of universal punishment system going on. And it's, like I said, I was not here, and those are the things that came up in my head when I was watching the video.
We'll see if anybody else wants to address the board, and then we'll comment. Does anyone else wish to address the board? Motion to close the meeting to the public. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? You want to address the comments as far as on that student?
Unfortunately, I realized individual student matter, whether it's the substitute matter or anybody else's. That's as far as the board is required, all school districts are required to report annually on different incidences, for example, disability matters that reported for case numbers and also have those reports done, also in the those but from the school district perspective, the only thing that we cannot comment on individual student matters nor any details that we provided with regard to any situation.
So there's no way to find out how many situations in Saddlebrook if the parent wanted to find out, just without knowing names?
Not unless it's one of the state mandated reports.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes and no, I mean, this person, if you were to answer consumer, I could send down
I'm sorry.
Through the chair, I would agree with Ms. Hayes too. And is there any way we can get a report? Because the way the former superintendent made it sound is that's horrendous in these schools. Yeah. And not, as a parent, if that's going on, then my child's not going to these schools. So if we can get a report on that, I would love it.
Well, you raised I'm hearing some concerns here on what was stated. Normally speaking, in the 30 years that I've done administration, the worst job in the district's assistant principal. You're like Judge Judy. So no matter what decision you make, it's going to be wrong to someone because you're not there. And so you make judgments on a rapid fire. So there's a difference between, for better, misdemeanors versus felonies. And I'm putting that with tape here as just an example, please, not to feed into what's taking place. So you make those decisions. And normally, those are never reported to the board. What is reported to the board and should be reported to the board is suspensions. And that should be done if you just a simple number, 2 or 3 have been suspended. And as our attorney said, there's a violence report that has to go to the state. Now, the stuff that you just talked about would not be on that report. I have a personal opinion. I'm in the minority on the HIP, harassment, intimidation, and bullying. I don't believe there should be a HIP for K-5 at all. That's when kids are making statements, and you did make the statements like in the grammar school. They don't even know what they're doing. And we're supposed to try to teach them that. And so the discipline, as far as I'm concerned, now again, I've only been here a day, shouldn't be A, B, C, and D. There is, and there should be in every district, and I will check that tomorrow, and it's mostly in the handbooks, there is a discipline policy. And there is usually an outline of what the district involves themselves in. Some use a point system, some use categories, and they break it down. You can't cover everything, but you do give an informational thing to the parent so the parent is aware of what the discipline situation may be. The other thing that you have to throw into a lot of this stuff that you can't get into is special education. And that creates some other issues that you have to work by. And the only thing we can as administrators, I can talk about your child to you. And if your child's in a conflict with another child, I cannot, nor would I talk about your child to that other parent, and the reverse is also true. So we're limited in what we actually can get ourselves involved in getting information out, just like you said, the blotters the police put out. Sometimes they don't put names in, but if they're 18 or over, they put names in. But that's a different legal barrier level that you can go to. And discipline is not the same all the time. As someone says, life isn't fair. I applaud you as a parent. I used to say back in prehistoric times when I went to school, schools didn't have to worry about discipline. If you had called my mother or father, even if I was right, I would just say, beat me. Don't call my parents because the school was right. And that was wrong then. And it's the best it's ever been, to be honest with you. But a lot of parents today say, well, if this one, they want to be their friends of their kids and not their parent. And I understand your frustration as you explained it. And I'll meet with the administrators and we'll see where we are on it and take a look. And I have not heard this internal report, horrendous situation. I don't think it's what it is. But now, since it's brought up and one of the board members has mentioned something, I will check on that and I'll report back to the board. Okay? So I'll look into it.
Motion to recess to close executive session to discuss personnel, contract negotiations, and matters covered by the attorney-client privilege per NJSA and 4-6 except Open Public Meetings Act. Subject matter discussed may be disclosed to the public if and when the proof of confidentiality no longer exists. Action may be taken when the board reconvenes in open session. And motion.
This group is invited back anytime. If there's anyone else that doesn't want to be like you, stop them at the door. Thank you.